Rush Limbaugh gave a wet, sloppy blowjob to Benjamin Netanyahu on his radio show today. Let's listen, and then I'll break down why his argument is tremendously ironic.
The optics of this speech were just so overwhelmingly powerful. And when I say what could have been, this was leadership. This was leadership in full force. Benjamin Netanyahu today was everything Barack Obama is not. Everything. This speech today even featured Netanyahu turning to a guest in the gallery, much like presidents who deliver State of the Union speeches. Netanyahu's guest, Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor. This speech, as I say, historically important, moral, ethical, and legal clarity. Nothing like that combination to focus the mind. And this speech was all about rallying and saving Western civilization, which is what is under assault.
The speech was about saving Western civilization. What is Netanyahu, Superman? Is that what you think he is, Rush? No, this is great because what does Rush say about liberals all the time? He says, our arguments are always emotional and they lack substance and hard truths. Like the conservatives, we care about the harsh truths, whereas the liberals, they're all caught up in their feelings and sentimentalism. Well, what the fuck was that? Did you not hear yourself speaking? You know, this is leadership. That's what this is leadership. He's everything Barack Obama isn't. He even showed a Holocaust survivor. And what the fuck does that have to do with the topic at hand? How is that in any way, shape, or form substantive? What the fuck does that have to do with policy? Rush, did you name one policy specific there? Did you give any real alternatives, any real suggestions, any real directions that we should take the situation involving the negotiations with Iran? None. You didn't give any. Netanyahu didn't give any. In fact, that was Obama's criticism. Obama, in typical Obama fashion, was like, I agree with Netanyahu about this, but come on, keep it real. The guy gave absolutely no alternative. What is his alternative? I'll tell you what his alternative is. Fear-mongering. Warmongering. So, they're evil, we're good. They're evil, we're good. They're evil, we're good. Sprinkle in some lies. They're evil, we're good. They're evil, we're good. And what does Rush see when he hears that? Oh, this is leadership. You see how he's making old white people scared that there's going to be a nuclear attack from a nation that doesn't even have a nuclear weapon? That's what I like to call leadership. This reminds me of George W. Bush. And that's what it really boils down to, is that when you look at Benjamin Netanyahu and what he's doing now with Iran, this is directly from the playbook of the neoconservatives and Dick Cheney and Paul Wolfowitz and Donald Rumsfeld and George W. Bush, where this is what they did with Iraq, where they said, Saddam was responsible for 9/11, and then that was bullshit, so they had to move the goalposts. Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. And by the way, an implication there was he's also going to use them immediately. He didn't have them, number one. Number two, even if he did, he wasn't going to use them because he would have been blown out of the sky immediately if he did. So that one was 2 layers deep of bullshit. And then they moved the goalposts again to he's just a bad guy. Well, look at what they're doing with Iran. They're equal to the Nazis. And they're going to have a weapon. They already have it. I mean, they're going to have it. 2 years ago at the UN, Netanyahu said Iran is going to have a weapon in a year. Do they have it? Did I miss it? No, they don't have it. In fact, Mossad, his intelligence agency, said at the time to the government of South Africa that no, Netanyahu's got no idea what he's talking about. He's wrong. He's wrong. So in reality, what was he doing? He was lying. You know, he's not dumb enough to just make it up in his head like a paranoid schizophrenic and truly believe it. No, he was lying. He's lying. He's a liar. The entire speech was, be afraid, they're evil, we're good, they're evil, we're good. By the way, disregard the history of what happened in Iran with the West, because we're good, they're evil. That's all there is to it. So, what? Forget the fact that we overthrew their government and put in a dictator because the democratically elected leader wanted to nationalize the oil industry and we wanted to keep stealing the oil in the West, particularly America, so we put in the Shah and started stealing the oil again. Forget that that's what led to the increased radicalization in Iran, right? Forget that that's what led to the revolution in 1979. It was a revolution for what reason, by the way? Because the government was a dictatorship that we put in, and it was a puppet to give us oil. So this idea that, like, oh, no, you see, it's always them. They're always the problem, no matter what. No matter what, they're the problem. Well, then you're disregarding historical facts, and you're disregarding things that the IAEA and the UN are saying today. As we just went over, the IAEA said Iran is complying 100% with the interim deal, and they're serious about this. They really want a peace deal. You know who doesn't want a peace deal? Benjamin Netanyahu, which is why Rush Limbaugh is masturbating to him. He's like, oh, finally, somebody who's calling for more war. Somebody who's comparing people to the Nazis. Somebody who wants to attack and claim moral superiority at the same time, even though they want to do the offensive strike. Oh, it feels so good. I just want to bathe in it. I want to bathe in his anger. I want to bathe in his warmongering. That's what we call leadership. But it's okay, because like Rush Limbaugh says, it's liberals who are too emotional and too sentimental, whereas Limbaugh is all about the hard facts, like saying vague things like, leadership! He stands for leadership, and he makes me feel good. He makes me feel good emotionally. That's why I support Netanyahu. These goddamn liberals, they're too emotional.